A missile erupts from the deck of an American destroyer. It is 7:10 a.m. No one in Iran knows yet. That morning, the Persian Gulf looks like any other morning. Tankers glide slowly toward the strait. An Iranian radar spins ceaselessly over a coastal base. The operator drinks his tea. His screen is clean. He has 39 minutes of peace left, because in those 39 minutes, the United States will launch the largest American military operation since the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and Iran will discover, in its own flesh, why the American superpower doesn't need to declare war on you to destroy you. It just needs a clear morning, and a plan it has been refining for months. Here is how it happened. Minute by minute, strike by strike. The first missile leaves the deck smoothly. The booster propels the weapon toward the horizon, then detaches cleanly. A turbofan the size of a coffee table takes over. The weapon drops to 15 feet above the water's surface. It no longer climbs. It no longer veers. It streaks straight, skimming the waves. For seconds, the second silo opens. For more seconds, the third, the fourth. In 90 seconds, 8 missiles have left the deck. 300 meters to the northwest, 2 more destroyers are doing exactly the same thing. 25 Tomahawk cruise missiles are now in flight, hugging the water. Each follows a route calculated to pass through every known blind spot in Iranian coastal radars. Estimated flight time to naval bases in southern Iran, 40 minutes. These missiles are patient. They streak at 560 miles per hour. 40 minutes of exposure over water. A single detected radar pulse, and the entire southern arm of the operation collapses. Everything depends on what crossed the Iranian border long before them. Inside Iranian airspace, a wave of low-cost drones is already doing something no American weapon had ever done at this scale. An Iranian air defense operator watches his screen. A dozen slow contacts appear. They advance inland at barely 125 miles per hour. He cannot know which ones carry an 18-kilogram explosive charge aimed at his radar antennas. He cannot know which ones are simply noise. So he does what his training demands. He fires. An interceptor leaves the rail. Over $1 million. It pursues a device the size of a lawnmower, catches it at 3 times the speed of sound. Confetti. But that was not a Tomahawk. What you just watched explode is a low-cost attack drone, manufactured in Mesa, Arizona, by a company that reverse-engineered captured Iranian Shaheeds. Unit cost, $35,000. At this precise moment, it is the most important aircraft flying over Iran. The operator fires again. Another $1 million. He fires again. Every interceptor sent chasing a drone cheaper than a pickup truck is one fewer interceptor when 25 cruise missiles arrive in 30 minutes. But there is something worse. Every time that battery fires, it reveals its exact position to the passive sensors of the F-35s crossing the Iraqi border right now. That operator is burning through his ammunition and engraving his own address onto a missile that will soon come knocking at his door. What crosses the Iraqi border next is not a $35,000 drone. 12 heavy fighter bombers have been pushing east from Iraqi airspace for 90 minutes. They fly in the electromagnetic shadow of a line of stealth aircraft advancing silently ahead of them. Not one emission, not one signal, nothing. The stealth jets map every active Iranian radar along the border without ever betraying themselves. The heavy bombers, meanwhile, are loaded. Under each fuselage, a 1,100-kilogram long-range supersonic missile. At 8:05 a.m., the formation reaches its firing altitude over western Iraq. The weapons officer in the rear seat has watched his targeting screen update over the past hour. Coordinates refined 3 times via data link from an intelligence aircraft orbiting over Jordan. He confirms the final solution. The pilot presses release. The missile drops. Then the solid motor ignites. It breaks the sound barrier within seconds. It climbs on a ballistic trajectory toward Tehran. 11 more missiles follow in the seconds after. 12 warheads accelerate beyond anything Iran can intercept at this phase of flight. A Tomahawk launched from Iraq takes 45 minutes to reach Tehran. These missiles take a few minutes. That gap is the entire difference. 45 minutes give Iranian operators time to detect, track, obtain authorization, fire. A few minutes gives them time to watch the impacts on the news. At 8:10 a.m., everything arrives at once. The supersonic warheads strike first. Effective warning time, 0. The Supreme Leader's office absorbs several direct hits. A commercial satellite passing overhead captures the images minutes later. Several buildings inside the compound reduced to fractured concrete. Columns of black smoke pierce the morning air. In the minutes that follow, the stealth jets cross the border with guided bombs under their wings. This is where their data fusion system earns every cent of its price tag. The pilot approaching the Ministry of Defense is not juggling multiple screens. His onboard computer fuses everything, his own sensors, Data from other aircraft. Satellite imagery. 1 image, 1 screen. Every active threat within 300 kilometers. Every allied aircraft. The GPS coordinates of the 3 buildings he will destroy in the next 90 seconds. It is like driving with a GPS that displays every radar, every obstacle, every target. In real time, he rolls the aircraft inverted at 25,000 feet, pulls the stick toward him, releases a 113-kilogram small-diameter bomb. The weapon is only a quarter the size of a standard bomb, but its GPS-guided diamond-shaped wings allow it to glide 37 miles from the release point. At that distance, the circular error probable is measured in meters, not tens of meters. The bomb pierces the roof of the ministry. It detonates on a delay at the 3rd floor, the level where military planning documents live. Across Tehran, the pattern repeats. Ministry of Intelligence, headquarters of the Atomic Energy Organization, Persian military complex. Each target chosen because it cannot be quickly rebuilt, relocated, or replaced by backup systems. The stealth jets are not striking government buildings at random. They are severing the administrative nervous system that connects Iranian military commanders to their units in the field. Their intelligence, their nuclear bureaucracy. 700 kilometers to the south, the Tomahawks finally reach the coast. The first warhead strikes the Revolutionary Guard's naval base at 8:12 a.m. The command building collapses inward. The fuel storage behind it ignites. A column of black smoke rises straight into the humid morning air. For minutes later, a twin-seat fighter bomber, forward deployed from Britain to Jordan, rolls in from the north at 18,000 feet. The weapons officer in the rear seat has been watching this target for 40 minutes on his radar. A reinforced concrete shelter on the waterfront, with a curved roof, designed to protect the fast attack boats inside. Those 50-foot craft armed with machine guns and rocket launchers, built to swarm out in packs of 100 and overwhelm tankers and American ships through sheer numbers. Nobody swarms out today. He designates the shelter. He confirms GPS lock. He releases the 900-kilogram bomb. The guidance kit deploys its for control fins. They correct 10 times per second to drive a mass of hardened steel toward a roof designed to stop shrapnel. Not a weapon that strikes with the force of a freight car at full speed. 30 seconds of guided freefall. The bomb pierces the concrete vault and detonates inside the shelter. The overpressure has nowhere to go. The walls explode outward. The roof collapses onto the fast attack boat like a fist closing. The fighter is already pulling away, hauling 5 Gs back to altitude, when the weapons officer confirms the impact on the targeting pod imagery. Below, the Strait of Hormuz is open and silent. Iran spent 40 years threatening to mine it and strangle the global economy. The boats meant to do it are burning under a collapsed roof on the Gulf Coast. 500 kilometers to the east, the American carrier is doing 30 knots into the wind. On the flight deck, a Super Hornet waits on the catapult with both engines at full military power. The catapult officer kneels and touches the deck. The brake releases. The catapult fires. 0 to 165 miles per hour in under 3 seconds. Forgs pin the pilot against his seat. Breakfast is in question. The Black Aces set course for Chabahar, Iran's only deep water port on the Gulf of Oman. The Tomahawk struck the command post and fuel storage 20 minutes earlier. The oil reserves send a smoke column visible from 60 miles. But the submarine piers are still standing. A Ghadir-class submarine that makes it to sea can carry mines to the Strait of Hormuz, hidden among commercial shipping traffic. That cannot happen. The first Hornet rolls in on the pier with a 900-kilogram guided bomb. His wingman drops a second weapon of the same caliber onto the adjacent dry dock facility. If you cannot refuel a submarine, repair it, or load it with mines, it is worth no more than an expensive garden sculpture. A third pair targets the anti-ship missile battery on the coastal cliff, the launcher that could threaten tankers and coalition ships in the strait. 2 small-diameter bombs later, the battery ceases to exist. Across the entire Gulf Coast, the coordinated Tomahawk end fighter pattern has struck Isilua, Chabahar, and Bandar Abbas. The last harbored Iran's Kilo-class submarines and the Revolutionary Guard's Naval Forces headquarters. The carrier air wing still has ordnance under its pylons, held in reserve for any Guards vessel brave enough to sortie. None do. But 500 kilometers to the north, the stealth jets over Tehran are running low on fuel. And from the mountains of western Iran, the air defense system the drones have not yet reached begins to stir. Here is what analysts will piece together afterward. After Israel dismantled virtually all of Iran's Russian-made surface-to-air missile batteries in October 2024, Iranian engineers did something genuinely impressive. They spent 2 years building a domestic replacement. What the Israeli Air Force would later designate by the code name SAE-65. Mobile Phased Array Radar. Estimated engagement range of 150 kilometers. The ceiling of what Iran could build under
Hardened concrete shelter on the waterfront with a half-moon roof designed to protect the PACAP
that Israeli aircraft had been using since morning. An American electronic warfare aircraft picks up the first emission. The SAE-65 search radar has been pulsing intermittently for hours. Short bursts trying to track the stealth jets without staying on long enough to attract an anti-radiation missile. But now, with a second wave of supersonic missiles inbound through the corridor, the battery commander makes the decision every air defense operator dreads. He switches to fire control guidance, full power, continuous tracking. He is going for a shot. The moment he transmits, it is over for him. The electronic warfare aircraft's jammer floods his tracking frequency with enough power to turn his display into pure noise. Simultaneously, a stealth jet that has been passively mapping this emission for 90 minutes transmits precise grid coordinates via data link. And from a Super Hornet orbiting 37 miles to the west, an anti-radiation missile drops from the pylon, lights its motor, and accelerates to nearly Mach 3. The missile's multimode seeker, GPS, inertial, active millimetric guidance, does not care if the radar shuts down. It already knows where it lives. Emission to impact, under 90 seconds. Iran spent 2 years building a replacement for the air defense system Israel had destroyed. Israel and the United States destroyed the replacement before it fired a single shot. An American official will later say, "We effectively neutralized their air defenses." This sequence rewrites the rest of the day, because the aircraft that have been orbiting over Iraq for 3 hours, waiting for exactly this moment, finally received clearance to push deep. 12 fifth-generation stealth fighters, the most advanced in the world, receive the order. They have been burning circles in the western sky for 3 hours, watching the air defense picture shift from red to amber. Now it is green. The lead pilot pushes both throttles to full military power and banks east into Iranian airspace. His radar paints everything within 125 miles. He tracks contacts the size of a golf ball, while his own aircraft returns a radar signature, roughly the size of a marble. An Iranian fighter would need to close within 15 miles to register anything at all. At 15 miles, his missiles have already been in flight for 10 seconds. It is the radar equivalent of being invisible until you are already standing in someone's living room. But these stealth jets are not here to shoot down fighters. They are here to listen. The electronic suite on these aircraft is the most capable electronic warfare system ever fitted to a fighter. More than 30 antennas integrated across the wings, fuselage, and tail, each tuned to a different slice of the electromagnetic spectrum. Flying over central Iran, the system silently catalogs every electronic emission from the ground. A mobile surface-to-air battery that repositioned during the morning's chaos, and believes itself hidden. The system has already geolocated it from its search radar. A Revolutionary Guards command post communicating on a frequency it believes is secure. Logged. Coordinates tagged. Transmitted via data link to a fighter-bomber orbiting 60 miles behind. The stealth pilot never fires a shot he does not need to fire. Every piece of data his aircraft collects makes the next strike easier, makes the next fighter more effective, makes the next missile more precise. The Iranian Air Force, perhaps 40 operational MiG-29s, a handful of surviving F-1 Tomcats, and a few aging Phantoms that were already old when the original Top Gun came out, stays on the grounds. Wise choice. But on the ground in western Iran, another battle is reaching its peak. While the stealth jets catalog central Iran, and the Navy dismantles the Gulf Coast, the most desperate fight of the day is playing out in the mountains of Kermanshah, Lorestan, and Khuzestan. 30 heavy fighter bombers loaded with guided glide bombs and tactical cruise missiles fan out across 3 provinces. They are hunting transporter erector launchers, those heavy trucks that carry, erect, and fire ballistic missiles capable of reaching Israeli cities. The math is brutal. A Revolutionary Guards missile crew can pull a Shub 3 out of a fortified mountain tunnel, set up in a valley, connect the fuel lines, erect the missile on the rail, and fire in under 30 minutes. Then they drive the empty vehicle back underground before the next satellite pass. Israeli intelligence has spent months building targeting files from signal intercepts, satellite imagery, and by some accounts, human intelligence sources inside the guards themselves. Every one of those sources is earning its pay this morning. Finding a missile launcher in the mountains of western Iran is like finding a specific food truck in Manhattan, except this food truck is trying to reach Tel Aviv, and changes location every 20 minutes. Infrared drone footage released hours later captures the moment that defines the day. An Iranian launcher caught mid-sequence in a narrow valley. Grainy infrared camera quality. The missile already vertical on the rail, probably a Shub 3. The ground crew visible at the base, connecting the final fuel lines. The weapons officer on the orbiting fighter places his crosshairs on the launcher rail, but he waits. If he releases now, the lethal radius of his glide bomb catches the vehicle, but the missile could fall damaged, not destroyed. He needs the fuel lines connected. He needs the crew clustered at the base. He needs everything in one place. 10 seconds. 15 seconds. The ground crew steps back from the umbilical connection point. He releases. The guided glide bomb drops from the pylon and deploys its wings. GPS and electro-optical guidance steer it along the valley on a trajectory calculated to impact the base of the launcher at a shallow angle.